Hello, it's Patrick Crampton-Thomas again from IndX, and welcome to this final session in our Expert Series on SAP Digital Manufacturing. So today, we're going to take a look at what we call REO, which is the Resource Orchestration. This is really the detailed scheduling and execution capabilities of SAP DM. So we've been through, as a business, a supply chain planning process. We've been through our S&OP, we've created demand plans, we've turned those into order-based plans in production scheduling. Perhaps we've created a production schedule for the next month in weekly buckets, typically doing that in something like SAP S/4HANA detailed production scheduling. Those plans are now coming into SAP DM for real execution at shift hour, minute by minute level. To do that, we need to take each shop floor control unit, each individual item that we're going to create, and actually turn it into a series of operations, tasks, and activities across our resources and throughout our production lines. And that's what Javier is going to show us now, is the detailed resource orchestration in SAP DM and how we can actually both manually and automatically plan our shop floor with SAP DM. So Javier, over to you.
Thank you, Patrick. Hi, I am Javier Oroz. I'm a digital manufacturing functional consultant at IndX. And during the previous episode of this series of videos, we presented the line monitor pod to visualize default reports and KPIs in SAP DM. And also the SAC embedded analytics to configure custom reports in SAP DM. And today, in this demo session, we will talk about the detailed scheduling and resource orchestration in SAP Digital Manufacturing, and this is what we call REO. To understand a bit more the value that REO can provide to you as a customer, before we need to know the different planning horizons that we have in a production environment. Starting from the left to the right, not just the horizons, but also the planning granularity changes. For example, budgeting is in months and quarters. Business planning is in weeks and months. Detailed scheduling is in weeks and days. And all of this happens in the ERP system, in the different modules of SAP S/4HANA, IBP, PP, PPDS, and after that, the production orders are sent to digital manufacturing. And here is where we have the software scheduling and execution, which is in days and hours, using SAP REO within SAP Digital Manufacturing. Now, if you want to see more in detail the differences between the planning in SAP PPDS and the scheduling and dispatching in SAP REO, here you have a comparison. PPDS, on one hand, is creating a constraint plan to ensure that I have the materials available and procured and my key constraining resources are optimized and balanced efficiently to meet the demand. And this typically in PPDS is creating weekly plans that can be updated daily by a production planner. On the other hand, we have REO that takes the plan and turns it into an execution schedule on the software, so I know exactly what production orders will run in the next shift and in the next hours, right down to the line and machine level. REO typically planned at day or shift level and also provided short-term rescheduling to take care of immediate issues and changes to plan or by hour. You can pause the video here and have a deeper look at the differences, and once you are ready, we can continue with the demo of the resource orchestration. For that, we will continue with the same example as in the previous session. So you are a customer which produces this finished product, which is called Cooper. In the previous episode, we explained the execution part using the production operator dashboard here, or pod, to execute the software control items, or SFCs, of the Cooper orders. But right now, we are in the step right before the execution. We are in the resource orchestration. And the tool that SAP DM provides for this is dispatch and monitoring app. The classic way that dispatch and monitoring app provides to do the scheduling is this order scheduling, which is the default. And here the planner can schedule production orders and their operations, and later the SFCs are generated and executed in the pods. In this type of scheduling is a good choice in most of the cases for planning the overall orders. If you don't need to have too much control of each individual SFC item, and your orders have, for example, big volumes. For example, if you manufacture paper packs and your orders have quantities of 10,000 pieces, this type of scheduling is good for you. And also, on the other hand, if you, for example, you produce vehicles and each order contains only one item, you can also keep the scheduling at order level. However, now SAP DM also allows us to do the execution-based resource orchestration focused on scheduling the individual SFCs. This way, we have an order with multiple SFCs, and each SFC has its own schedule and is dispatched to a specific resource. That's why we need to generate the SFCs before, but the added value of this solution is that it allows us to have more control on the scheduling and dispatching for each SFC focused on the execution with a tight pod integration. And it is good for a use case like in automotive industry, where you need to have control on each item. And this way, we need to know what is in each work center to ensure the correct capacity allocation and quality. Here we have an example. On the top part is the classic order scheduling, where we schedule the whole quantity of the orders. And here we have on the bottom the SFC scheduling, where you can assign individually each SFC a time in the schedule. And for example, if you have an urgent order from the customer, which needs to be put into the schedule, or there is some machine down and you need to change it, the SFC scheduling allows us to do these changes at SFC level. For example, here, if we change it, we can individually change each SFC and start an order here and maybe complete it after some other order. Okay. Now I will show you how to do this in SAP DM. For that, we need to go to SAP DM. We need to have the orders released. We have the system configured to automatically release, and we need to go to dispatch and monitoring app. And this is the default view where you can see the classic order scheduling. Here we have the operations for the orders which are released. Okay, here we have the assembly, testing, and packing operations for these two orders. Okay, so now for the SFC scheduling, we need to click on this SFC schedule view, okay, to generate the individual SFC schedules for each order. So for example, if we have if we want to release for these orders, we enter them here, and this allows us to have full control on which SFCs we want to schedule and which ones we want to send to the software. For example, if we enter these orders, we can see that this one is already generated, and these other two orders, we can generate now the scheduling. We click here to generate the SFC schedules. Then the orders will turn green with the message schedules generated. And if we click on SFC schedules, we can see the SFCs and the scheduling details. Okay, we can see each operation. As mentioned before, for the SFC scheduling, we need to have an SFC release before, and this is something that can be automatic. Now let's go to the main view by clicking on the X icon. And here we can see that the orders are disappear from the operation view. So we need to change to the SFC view by clicking here. And we can see here the different operations for each SFC. This is the SFC number, and we have the 3 operations, assembly, packing, and testing for the 3 SFCs. Let's zoom a little bit so we can see them better. And now we can either manually move them to the resources. We know that we have first the assembly resources, then the testing, and then the packing. We can manually move them, drag and drop. Here to the green area is where we can allocate. Here you can see that this one is red, so we cannot allocate to this resource. But this would take too much time to do it manually, so the best way is to do this automatic dispatching. So we click here on auto dispatch, we click backlog orders because they are in the past. So we can see that the orders are now scheduled here. We can see them here. We can see that the SFCs are allocated to each resource, and we can see here the duration of each operation. As you can see here, the assembly operation takes more time, and that's why we have more resources. So once we finish this scheduling, we can click on save. And then the SFCs will appear in the pod to be ready to be executed. Before doing that, maybe we can check if we have the workforce allocated to our resources. We can see here the labor. We have Clara assigned here. We also can check the tools. Here we have a screwdriver assigned here to the assembly operation for this shift. So everything is ready to be produced. Just for your information, to do the labor scheduling and tool scheduling, SAP DM also provides 2 different tabs. This is the scheduling labor, where we can assign to each user. For example, if I am a supervisor, this will be my view where I can see the different shifts, and I can assign a shift to an operator and a work center. And this is the tool scheduling, where I am as a supervisor can assign the different tools to the different work centers. In this case, we have here the screwdriver assigned to the assembly operation. Okay, so going back to the REO, dispatch and monitoring, we have saved. So now we can go to the pod, and this is what the operator will see. Here, all the orders that we have scheduled, this quantity 1, if we refresh, or we will see April here 13th, April 10th, and then on the 13th, here are the orders that we just planned. We can see here the planning where the operator can continue the execution. As we can see, there is some resource down, so the operator here could inform the supervisor, so the supervisor can reallocate manually the orders that are assigned into the Cooper machine 1, which is down. This machine 2, sorry. This can be done manually, or we can simply configure the system to don't allow to release to resources which are in down status. Okay. So from here, the execution would continue, and this is all for this demo session. Thank you for watching, and now I hand over to Patrick.
Javier, thank you very much for that demonstration. That was great. So everyone, that actually brings us to the end of our expert series on SAP Digital Manufacturing. we've looked at DM across really the whole life cycle, right? From setting the product up, configuring the user interface, through different work center scenarios, assembly, quality, etc. And actually right into how we can schedule resources and tasks and connect to machines for automation. So I think that's a really good look at SAP DM. I would also like to extend our support to help you in your SAP DM journey. And for that, we've created an accelerator package which can take you right through from the first readiness assessments, which just typically take a couple of days, maybe 3 days, and we can actually look at how applicable DM is for your environment and give you some feedback, some of the key considerations around configuration and deployment and so on. We can also do an assessment around a migration from MII if you happen to be an SAP MII or DM customer. So what would that migration across to DM look like? And for some customers, we've even taken a lot of what they've done in MII and actually replicated it in a semi-automated way into DM, which really helped with that, minimizing change management on the shop floor and allowed them to take the best of what they had with MII into DM. And we can help you then with either proof of concepts and, of course, full-blown implementation services. Engineering group, of which Industries Excellence is a part, has a very long track record of more than 500 deployments of MES in MES environments. So, we're well placed to help you across different industries, and those accelerator packages can really help you see quickly how SAP DM can bring value to your operation. So please do reach out. And with that, I'd like to really thank you for your attendance. I hope you enjoyed this series. It's been a pleasure to be with you. And I look forward to hearing from you soon if we can be of any further assistance. So thank you very much. Bye.